and we've identified that that person has actually, shall we say, taken something. What are you going to do? Hello, I'm Will. What I do is I talk a lot around staff safety, and I make short videos that work in line with our training, or if anyone has any questions, that we can send them a link to the video to give them a bit of an idea and hopefully some more information. Now, what I want to talk about in this video is something that's been cropping up, shall we say, quite rapidly over the past few months, even before Christmas, and that's shoplifting. Now, shoplifting can damage a company immensely. What I try to say to a lot of the organisations in retail that we've worked for is that if you don't really address shoplifting or theft or whatever category you want to call it, it can end up that specific store becoming what we class as a soft target. And what a soft target means is that, well, then it encourages others to come and openly steal. I think it's prompted more myself recently as well, is because I was out shopping myself on a Saturday. I was in a very renowned store, and I actually spotted somebody actually take what was a box of housing a quilt and walk straight out the door. I spoke to the staff, and their answer was, we'll review the CCTV, knowingly aware that they probably wasn't going to do anything. Because I've actually been sat in meetings with, we'll say, some large stores, and I've even heard the head of purchasing turn to me and say, well, theft isn't really high on our list. Security is not really high on our list. We'll let others deal with that. Okay. So I'm going to just break it down into 3 simple stages. Now, please be aware there's plenty of stages. There's plenty of other methods that people use. These are just the 3 stages we address. So let's just have a look at stage 1. So, stage 1. What's stage 1? Well, stage 1, when I work with anybody in retail especially, is I look a lot at prevention. And I ask them to think to themselves, right, what preventative measures do we currently have in place? Do we have any tagging system? Do we actually have CCTV? But do we use the CCTV effectively? Is the position of the cameras there more for monitoring, or are they a deterrent? How do we actually use them? How do we actually easily review the CCTV? Then I basically bounce it into things like signage. Do we use signage? Is it effective signage? Is it anything that actually outlines to members of the public that they're not, say, being watched, but they're aware that there is security measures in place? If there is any form of security organisation or outside company that's been brought in, how effective are they? I do a lot of review on security companies, and sometimes I do actually point out to security companies, perhaps we could change the staff around. But remember, security is there, predominantly there to provide a safe and secure environment, but there to also be a deterrent. I then talk a lot about the procedures. What does tell the staff? What do the procedures specifically outline to all the staff? This is what you do in the event of. Then I also talk a lot about training. Have we actually spent the time to train the staff? Have we said to them, this is what you do in the event of, say, an incident or a theft or something that occurs within that specific store, that the staff will then know clearly, well, this is the line I'm supposed to follow. So that's stage 1, just a bit of a snapshot. So the second stage, right. Well, the second stage is all about, right, okay, how are we going to approach an individual that's possibly carried out some form of theft? Well, the first thing is we need to make sure they've actually, shall we say, stolen that item. People go on about suspicious activity. People always talk a lot about, well, people are acting and things like that. I say, well, okay, yeah, I understand that, but we've got to look at it at the point of, are we sure that that individual has actually taken something? Have they actually taken something, and have they purposely concealed it? Have they accidentally put it at the bottom of a pram? Have they actually put it a certain part of the, shall we say, a trolley? Have they put it somewhere by accident? Have you, shall we say, seen them conceal that item that basically that they have no intention of paying for? When I work with loss prevention officers, store detectives traditionally are very good. Some of them I've worked with have been outstanding. And I've seen the way they observe and they confirm and they double check. And if they work in teams, they use, shall we say, CCTV with an individual in there watching it, and they talk to each other. It's like when I've worked with in stores. A lot of stores now have encouraged them to use passwords or code words or anything like that. Whatever comes to mind, even phrases, doesn't matter, to, shall we say, alert each other in the event of, say, something's happening. Then once the person has actually left the store, still within the, shall we say, the vicinity of the store, how do we do the approach? Are we aware of the risk factor of approaching this individual? Is there a crowd of them? Have you taken someone with you to make sure you've got a witness with you? People say you never approach without a witness. I've worked with staff who have approached members of the public without a witness. Yeah, but again, they point out, well, we're on CCTV, Will, and I understand that. I don't question anyone, I only advise. But then when we've approached a person, what are we going to say? Are we going to do the old apology? I'm sorry, I don't know if you're aware that you've possibly accidentally taken some out of the store. There's something to that effect that the store should outline together with the staff support into the procedures that the staff know. Then when we've done the approach, what are we going to do? And we've identified that that person has actually, shall we say, taken something. What are you going to do? So, stage 3. We've identified the person has actually taken something. They're outside the store. What are we going to do? Well, let's just take it factual. If they refuse to, shall we say, comply, and you know there's going to be a degree of violence, let them walk away. Use the CCTV footage, report it, record it correctly, pass it over to the police if needed, go through the systems of what your procedures say within the organisation, but do something. Don't ignore it. Because you're then going to end up having your store, your shop, whatever you want to call it, will turn into a soft target. Let's just say the person does follow you back in the store. You've got to know exactly where you're going to take that person. How are you going to conduct it? How are you going to search them in a set? Now, I don't mean a physical search, but how are you going to ask them to look into their bag? What is the system that you're going to use? You can't just physically search someone just because you want to. You've got to have a genuine reason, just in case it, shall we say, goes wrong. And if it goes wrong, at least you can turn around and say, well, this is the system I actually followed. Have we put them in the remit of, shall we say, the CCTV? Have we got a witness? All these things. I try to encourage staff, don't do anything on your own. Even management, don't. You've got to be careful because of allegations. And you also, believe it or not, also have a duty of care to the customers. So that's just a snapshot, just a small little snapshot into a subject that we're dealing a lot with recently, and i.e. shoplifting. Thank you for watching. Please take care whatever you're doing. Please continue to follow us on our social media sites, which is our LinkedIn page, which we put articles up all the time, our YouTube channel that we push out a video every week on a topical subject, and we're also on Twitter in case anyone wants to follow the links from there. Bye for now.